She crab soup has to be one of the finest soups that you will find in the southeast United States. I'm pretty sure that I tried this soup for the first time in Charleston, South Carolina. It was served at a restaurant where I worked, and it was one of the most popular items on our menu. Now, back then, when you ordered she crab soup at restaurants, you would find crab roe in the soup, which is what makes it she crab soup. The actual eggs are in the soup. However, over the years, I'm pretty sure that you no longer can find that. So I would like to share with you 2 recipes so that you can make it very easily with just everyday store-bought ingredients. And I'll also show you an authentic version where you can use actual live crabs with the roe, and we'll make a crab stock, and it's delicious, but it does take a little bit of effort, and that's more for those of you who catch your own crabs and maybe you're looking for a recipe. The ingredients will also be below the video for those of you who would like to print them out. So we'll get started with the easy recipe, and you can use just canned crab meat, like a lump crab meat for this, or just pick it up in the seafood department at your grocery store. That's a little bit better actually, but this version, if you just use it canned, is a little more affordable. And just go ahead and melt half of the butter that the recipe calls for. Add your minced celery and shallots and a little sprinkle of salt, and we just want to cover this and let them cook until tender on about medium-low heat. So that should take about 4 minutes. And we'll just go ahead and push out the celery and shallots to the side and put the rest of your butter right here in the middle. And now we can add our flour, and I'm still on about medium-low heat, and we'll just whisk this in until it looks like a paste, and then just let this cook for about 2 minutes. And now we can begin to just slowly add our stock. And for this easy recipe, I'm just using chicken stock. And we're going to add about 3/4 of a cup. We don't need to add all of it just yet. And just whisk it slowly and it will thicken. And now we'll begin to add some of our spices. One of the main ingredients in she crab soup is mace. And if you're not familiar with mace, it has a very strong flavor, much like nutmeg. As a matter of fact, it's the red outer layer of nutmeg. This is a picture of it. And if you peel all that off, that's your mace, and the nutmeg is underneath it, and that's dried and ground. So we just need a little tiny bit, just a smidgen, not much. And nowadays you can actually buy little measuring spoons for smidgen, pinch, and dash. So make sure you don't add too much of this mace because it can be very overpowering. And I'll leave a link below the video where I purchased my little measuring spoons. And so we want to go ahead and whisk that in. And now we can add our Worcestershire sauce along with some hot sauce. And I'm on about low heat now. I'm just kind of letting this reduce and concentrate. And I'll add a little bit of the white pepper as well. And now I'm just going to cover it up and let it cook for about 5 minutes while those flavors concentrate. And it's looking pretty good here. I'll go ahead and add a little bit more of the stock, just another couple of tablespoons, and we'll just give it a quick taste for salt is fine. And now I'll add the crab meat and a little bit more of the stock. You don't want to break up the crab meat too much. This ends up being a very thick soup, however. Now you can add the cream. And now that we've added our crab, we'll go ahead and give it another taste for salt, and it was fine. Now I just want to increase that heat a little bit, let it reduce and thicken up just a few minutes, about 3 or 4 more minutes, and we are good to go. And we'll go ahead and serve it in a warm soup mug. Make sure to warm that up real good, and then it's perfect with some fresh chives from the garden along with some sherry right there on top. This is actually a sherry pepper sauce. It has a few more flavors in it. I really like it, and it's not complete without some saltine crackers. So now that's your easy recipe, and now let's go ahead and get started on a more authentic she crab soup for those of you who actually catch your own crabs. So now we'll make the authentic she crab soup, and it's a lot like making it the easy way, except we're going to use live crabs and collect our own roe. And I showed you how to do that in an earlier video, so I won't go through all those steps again, but this is a little bit of footage from that video, and I'll leave a link below if you'd like to check it out. So just go ahead and boil your cleaned crabs with some onion, celery, chili, garlic, peppercorns, salt, and we will cook them for about 10 to 15 minutes and then ice them down. And then you need to pick the crab meat. Now this is very tedious, so I use a nutcracker and a little nut pick to get in there and get all of the meat. But like I said, make yourself comfortable because this is very tedious, so it takes a lot of time to do this. And then once you've picked all of your crab meat, you'll go ahead and save your shells. So I ended up with about 9 ounces of blue crab meat, really nice and fresh, delicious. And now I need to add my shells back to the stock. Now if you want to take an extra step, put those shells in your oven at about 400 degrees Fahrenheit and let them roast until you can just smell them, and then add them to your stock and it will give it just another level of flavor. I didn't take that step though, but I wanted to let you know you can do that. And then we will just strain out the stock, and now I can put it in some mason jars where I will freeze it. I don't fill my mason jars up all the way, just about 3/4 of the way, because like I said, I freeze it, and if you fill it up all the way, it'll crack the jar. But this is perfect for future soups, especially if I want to use the easy recipe, then I don't have to use the chicken stock. I can use this crab stock too. So basically the differences between the two recipes is we're using crab stock for the authentic version, and we're going to add roe and the crab after we add the cream, where before we added the crab before we added the cream, just to kind of infuse it with a little bit more crab flavor. But since we're using crab stock, we certainly don't need to add it too early. So go ahead and we'll add the crab roe. You can go ahead and just stir this up. It will just kind of harden at this point, and it will turn into little balls in there. They're real sweet, a lot of flavor. And now you can add the crab meat as well. Reserve a little bit of crab meat for the garnish at the end. It's nice to serve it with a little bit of crab meat on top. Now be pretty gentle. You don't want to break up all of the crab, just a little bit. Make sure you have some nice little bites of crab left in there. And it should be very thick, just like the other recipe. And just go ahead and serve it in a warm soup mug and put you some crab meat right there on top. I was out of chives when I made this one. It was like in February. My chives weren't growing then, but you want to put a little sherry on top and serve them with some saltine crackers, and there you go. It's just so delicious. Oh my goodness. I hope you guys can try it soon. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know by sharing it on your favorite social media platform. I sure would appreciate it. I'm only on YouTube right now. And so thanks so much for watching. Y'all have a beautiful day.